I chickened out. I'm in the basement again.
What's wrong with the shop out there?
Well, actually, it's more so today. If anybody watches the video I dropped today, part of it I was putting some spray lacquer on a sign, and well, the shop's still ventilating from that a little bit.
Did you get a little buzz there?
I was trying not to get a little bit of a buzz, so
Hey, lacquer will do it to you.
it will. That's some nasty stuff to be hanging out in. So you know, I basically I just did the first bit. I sprayed it in the shop where I could get the first coat down, and there was no weather, no bugs, whatnot. And then I took it outside after that and sprayed it. So
Cool. Well, how is everybody? While we waiting on some more folks to show up, because surely we're gonna have more than 20 tonight. What in the world is that flying around my head? Probably a spider web. Man,
yeah,
them spiders are
sure.
taking me over out here. I got to spray again. I just
See,
sprayed for them a little while
I
back.
had to come back in the shop so I'd have my little glowing logo like you have yours down there. Yours is like right there. Mine's up
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Well, you're the one that inspired me to do that, so it's your fault. How's it going, Sharon? How are y'all? Chuck, Chuck must. There's Minnesota. Chris, yeah, Chuck. I don't know if Chuck must be a new guy, or either he hadn't been with us for long because I haven't remembered his handle yet. Et, Tom. I think Tom's probably going to be a new one. Well, hello, Tom from Iowa. And Super Duty. Everybody knows him. All we're missing is, you know who's missing? I
All right.
really haven't
Well,
seen him in here. Your bromance. Where's Brian?
that's okay. Well, that would entail, yeah.
Where's Brian at?
But he's over there in Wisconsin, and they got the world's largest fly-in going on this next week. So he's probably ducking cover from all the airplanes flying overhead there with Oshkosh. So
Yeah. Well, it just won't be the same without him. It will not be the same. But yeah, Sharon, she chuckled when people asked if she had a channel. I have been trying for months to get her to like just help me with videos, because sometimes you could use another person out here in the shop, but she'll usually hang out with me until the video camera comes out, and then it's just like ghost. Sup, Scooby? I think Scooby's been here before. Rob Fight from Ohio. That's that one doesn't really ring a bell. And now I am 48 years old, guys. So if I don't remember your handle and you here last week, I apologize. I don't have that kind of memory. Barbecue and Bullets. How are you, sir? Are you back home today, or are you out seeing the lovely world? Joseph Cox, South Carolina. Welcome. Mark
yeah,
Patterson. That's one of your guys.
yeah.
See,
I'm glad to be home. More driving for me this week.
yeah,
Um, I know you. Because you messaged me and I was like, "Hey, I'm still like 4.5 hours from home," but
yeah.
no work had me driving almost to Canada. It was that joke. I was up there by the Boundary Waters, and if I was on a tall enough ledge, I probably would have been able to see it from there. Only about 17 miles away, but uh,
Cool.
enjoyed the trip up there. But man, that was another 10 hours of driving I didn't need to have.
Yeah, well, you have racked up some miles lately. Are you using that app that gives you cash back with your gas purchases that I hear so much
Uh,
about?
no, we've got some local gas stations in the state that I've got some rewards on and such. But of course, go figure. I don't. I was driving up, and I was like, "Oh, hey, gas price is a little cheaper here. There's a Love station off to the side, another one." And I'm like, "Well, I'll stop in a little bit," and it jumped from like 309 a gallon up to 349 by the time I find a gas station. And so,
Yeah.
oh well.
Uh, Hello, where Mark? Let's see. Rob says only it's his second trip, so that's probably why I didn't remember his handle because I can't remember all of them. I try to like visualize when I see folks. Larry, welcome. Uh, Larry, I think Larry said he was. Where did he say he was from? Chattanooga. Yeah, he's not far from me.
Yeah.
I just went through Chattanooga a couple weeks ago on my way back from Gatlinburg. I hate the traffic in Chattanooga on the
I
interstate.
I Yeah, I've driven through there a number of times going down to Georgia. It's beautiful coming in down off the mountains into Chattanooga, but
Yeah.
then you're just kind of in North Atlanta traffic.
Yeah, well, I drove all the way back from Gatlinburg, and the only two places that I had trouble with traffic was, of course, Chattanooga, right there at that long hill, and then like 5 miles from the house, I had to jump off the interstate because they were, redoing some roads. But yeah, and guys, if y'all see me squirming around in my seat a lot, it's because for some reason, this couple of bulging discs that I have are wanting to mess with me tonight for some reason. I'm good mind just to stand up because it seems to be when I stand up, it's a lot more comfortable. So if I'm squirming, that's what it is. I apologize.
Well, we'll forgive you, old man.
I know, man. I told my wife, I was like, if I don't hurry up and retire, I'm not going to be able to do anything when I retire. Yeah, and
Yeah.
you can't get a doctor to see you for nothing. I went and got the MRIs. They're like, hey, you got congratulations, you got two bulging discs. I'm like, okay. They're like, you'll be hearing from a doctor soon, and that was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So
Well,
in the meantime, I'm eating Advil like they're Tic Tacs. Hello from Phoenix. I bet it's warm over there. Oh,
it is.
Steve, there you go, right there. Sharon says she just watched her wolf pack. Wolf plaque. Oh, you should have called it a wolf pack plaque. That would have been cool.
Oh, that's a missed opportunity, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Sharon. I enjoyed that one. It was kind of nice to come back to the workshop and just play around for a little bit and do some fun stuff. And
Uh,
looks like we have a repeat visitor from last week. Robert was having problems with his nozzle getting gummed up. Said he cleaned off the honeycomb and things are working really well. So
hey,
happy that we could give you some pointers to smooth that out.
yeah, we may have not helped you fix that, but we're going to claim it anyway. I mean, that's just we're going to claim that one. Uh, oh, here's a question. See, y'all come up with these deep questions like that so that Steve can flex his knowledge of lasers. Steve, I'll go ahead and let you kind of touch on this one here because
Oh,
it does kind of fall a little into the. And you've done some 3D images in one of your videos the other day, so or three D esque,
yeah,
three
yeah.
D esque.
Depending on who you talk to. So the Z axis having that motorized and addressable really comes down to being able to adjust your focus. Number one, they have basically a limit switch on the side module that it can touch off and know that that's where the top of the material is and know that it has an offset of X amount of distance so it can set your focus there. But from there, then you can go in with Lightburn and tell it, hey, for this material, drop that Z axis 3 millimeters so that it's in the middle of your material. Say it's a 1/4 inch or about 6 millimeters. You can tell it touch off your focus, but then come down 3 millimeters to have it in the middle. Or if it's thicker, you could say start at the top and then each pass go down, 1.5 millimeters so that as you're making passes, your focal point is actually moving down with it as well. That's the primary benefit to having the motorized Z axis with the lasers. I don't know that because there's a fixed focal length and it's kind of short to the module itself. It's a bit limiting in what you can do. So it's not like you're going to cut through a 2-inch board doing that because your module is going to end up scraping across the top of your material before you really get to the bottom of that. But it does add a little bit of flexibility and adds a third dimension that you can maybe improve your cuts with a bit.
Yeah, that's the biggest benefit I see is the fact that you can do like multiple Z depths on cutting thicker material, and it does help, especially if you're doing something insane like I did the other day, cutting that 1/2 inch oak. It actually would have been beneficial probably if I could have dropped my focus after each pass, just to give it a little extra kick. Like you said, you're limited by you know, the clearance first of all, because a lot of these machines don't have a lot of clearance from the module to the material, but every little bit sometimes does help. One thing that I would say that it would help, and this was something that I've dealt with before, is like on glass. When you're engraving glass, sometimes you can change the focus and actually change the appearance of the frosting, and so you could, maybe manipulate that into getting some different contrast and stuff. But that's the only two times that I can think of it would be overly beneficial. Yeah, Sharon, that's what I got. My sciatic nerve's a little pinched. Uh-oh. Look at there. Norbert.
Well, yeah, I had to come back downstairs to be by my little mirrored sign there, but I guess I need to move it closer so it doesn't look as small compared to the other one here.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say that. But no, Steve, actually, I've got my Clack Shack little mirror sign that I made, but it's on the front of my portable shack. But that's actually just, that's my TV. I use it as a monitor at times. And especially because a lot of times, guys, when I'm out here working in the shop, I'll watch this guy Vintauri on YouTube on that TV right there, and so it's on a swivel, so I can like turn it to wherever I'm at working. So y'all should go look him up sometimes. He does decent content some days.
Some days.
Some
Yes.
days. Kevin Riddle, he's the one that had the pinched wire the other day. We couldn't figure out what it was. It turned out to be a pinched wire, and said he got it going. So I'm guessing everything's going good with it there, Kevin. I think he sent us a message, didn't he, saying that it fixed it. All right. Uh, tried to cut and break the glass. Oh yeah. Buy the glass the size that you want it, unless you're really good at that cutting glass. Especially
Hmm.
especially the cheaper glass. Cheaper glass engraves well, but I have never had any luck at scoring and snapping it, and I try to buy them the size that I want them to be before I go to engraving on them.
Yeah, and I should put this together in a video as well. So, an easy combo that you can use is I know Lowe's has 12 by 12 mirror panels that I think you buy in like a 6 pack, and then Michaels and probably Hobby Lobby will have like 12-inch square shadow box. Uh, they're a little bit deeper, so they're about 2 inches deep, and then they have a glass panel in front. That panel will pop right out. You can put the mirror right back in there. You don't have to cut it, and then you can put your LEDs behind that if you want. So if you're looking for something like that, that's easy without any cutting, without any making your own box. Those are a couple places you can get if you have them local anyway. You can get this stuff to do that pretty easily.
Yeah, that would definitely be a lot easier way because I built my box for mine, and it's not terrible, but it takes a little while.
Yeah. Jay's asking about the X-Tool module fan. Wires broke. I'm wondering about getting replacements. I know X-Tool does sell them. They're about $17. So I don't know. Maybe they have them listed on Amazon. It is a it is a common fan size, so you can probably do a little research and find the right size and the right voltage. But if you can get it for $17 plus minor shipping, that's probably your easiest plug and play option. Otherwise, if you're good with soldering, you could probably fix those wires back up. But for the plug and play, I'd go with the direct X tool one.
Yeah, sometimes those little, depending on where the wires broke, that might be challenging. There you go. Here we go. You want to take this one, or you want me to give them the Cliff Notes version?
You give the Cliff Notes version. I'll see if there's anything to expand on it.
Basically, the S value is, I think it gets its origin, and Steve can correct me in this. Its origin is in spindle speed, but in lasers, it's basically the percentage of power of your machine. Most machines that I've dealt with, the maximum power is 1,000. And so if you open your S values at 250, then you're technically only running a quarter of your output. So every machine that I've tested, and I look just to make sure, uh, 1,000 is where the S value needs to be to operate at 100%. The one time that I would say that you might want to use this would be in the case of a CO2, and you're trying to limit it to only go 80% or whatever. Then you could go in and adjust that number to prohibit you from accidentally running at 100%. So that's my take on it. How about you, Steve?
Yeah, no, you pretty much hit it on the head there. The biggest thing, like you say, is just double check that. Try to find out that that parameter doesn't need to be lower based on some weird board feature for your laser. But like you say, most of the ones that I've played with, that does need to be set up to 1,000. If it's anything less, then if it's set at 500 when it's supposed to be at 1,000, and you set your program to operate at 100%, you're actually operating at 50, and then it's just going to go down from there. So you can definitely be throwing off your cut and engraving settings.
Yeah, there's one machine that people keep calling me about that seems to be pretty common. I can't remember which one it is, but it's like pretty regular that somebody gets one and it's low powered. Was it the Acer that you got that time that did that?
Yeah, that was I don't know, that was a weird fluke. It just imported all sorts of strangeness, and the S value was low, the size was off, so I just blew the whole thing away out of Lightburn and redid it, and then compared it with yours. So,
Yeah.
but I was thinking it was just a few things I'd change and fix, but it turned out to be much more than that. So sometimes the best thing to do is to just wipe and reload.
Yeah. Chuck saying that his is Acer V35. So yeah, Chuck, I don't have a config file for the V35, but you may want to go through the configuration under machine settings and check everything. But there's also a dollar value that is associated with that S value. I can't remember which one it is, but you definitely going to want it to be set to 1,000 on an Acer because that's what all the Acers and Atom Stacks, which I think use similar controllers, typically they're set to 1,000.
Right. I found the link, and thanks, Jeff, for pointing that out. Geeks at Large does a lot of Xtool stuff, and they do have the Xtool fans for $10 and free shipping in the US. And
Not bad.
so that's a pretty good deal. And so hopefully everybody can see that one on there. Um, so that should be plug and play. Get you fixed up probably cheaper and faster than ordering it from other sources overseas.
Yeah. Joe said his P20 did that too. So yeah, it probably was the eight. I think it was the Acer you had a problem with, and I think that's the
Hmm.
one that I've had. I've had several people message me troubleshooting them because they're like it won't cut through quarter-inch material, and that's the first thing I tell them to check. And I've had actually found two or three that the value was set incorrectly. So, sup, Steve Ray. He's been in here before, as I recognize the name. So, but yeah, see somebody else. Woo! Would the longer B1 be a good fit for my trailer to do shows? I mean, as long as I don't think the power consumption's that much more. But now I will tell you, it's quite the beefy frame. So depending on how much space you want to give to a machine, just know that it's bigger than any other machine, square-bodied machine in this shop. It's bigger than all of them. Now, it's good for me because it has a bigger work area. But if you're trying to save, real estate on the table, you know, if you have other options, you actually might want to just consider that just in case.
I mean, I think
But
for the price between that and the Ortour Master Pro, Laser Master Pro 3, you're probably going to win out on the B1 with a couple of tweaks to it. That air nozzle, like you did, throw in the X Tool one on there, improved it. And I don't remember the B1, it has Wi Fi, but I don't know that it natively works with Lightburn like the way the other ones do.
yeah, I haven't tried
So,
it. I'm a USB junkie.
I,
I
me
don't use
too.
Wi-Fi on them.
I don't, but I mean, that would be, if you're at a show and you wanted one less cable, that might be something. But of course, then you got to worry about a router. I don't know. Never mind. Wi Fi is not a deal breaker, it's just a thing to play with. But
Yeah,
yeah, you're going to get the most working area out of that one for sure. And I think your price for the 30 watt over the 20 watt, I think you'd be much happier with your options. So,
Now I will say this: the 30 watt, this longer will engrave really fast. And that's one other benefit to me of having a larger work area is you can actually engrave stuff faster with a little added overscan to give it a little more room to speed up and slow down. You're not limited by your work area. But so far, this thing's it's doing a really good job. Now it did take me a little engineering to get it completely set up the way I wanted it, but now that it's set up, I'm ready to go. Uh, not a let's see, not a what would you call it? OEM solution. There is not. There may be a aftermarket somewhere, maybe.
Um, I think you've got to what you got to do that is it Colby's mod for the Devil One,
Yeah.
and then so it's he does it well, but you're really kind of it's no longer really a D1 Pro. It's you use a lot of parts from the D1 and replace the motherboard and some other things. So at that point, I don't know. You got to ask yourself, is it worth that, or do you just uh, purchase something with it in there and have two devices? So, and I would imagine X Tools got to come out with their version of that soon. I know they've been trying to get caught up on the P2 and everything, but their diode lasers are kind of their bread and butter still. So I think they'd come out with a new version. And who was it? Oh, I actually saw an advertisement that OhmTech is coming out with a diode laser. They've been big
What?
CO2 people for a while. Yeah, I saw an ad for it somewhere. So it was in one of my feeds as I was scrolling by. So that'll be interesting to see what they do in that realm as well.
Yeah. Steve, I really haven't found a viable use for grayscale. Uh, every machine that I've tried running grayscale with, if it makes it sound like it's destroying a machine. It makes this awful grinding noise, and you'll think you've broken your machine. So I just quit using it because there's a sweet spot with the settings because what it does is this module speeds up and slows down at such an intense rate. It literally sounds like your belt's fixing to come off.
Yeah, I think that's much more geared towards CO2 lasers, where it can adjust the power and the speed a little faster on that. And yeah, I would say the same. I pretty much skip using grayscale on the diodes anytime. Um, Stuckey and Atkinson are kind of the two, and Jarvis. Those are the three I would kind of play around with for the most part. So
Mm. Well, Chris, what you got going on over there, bro? Order one from the U.S. delivered and signed for by Kevin and Chris. Man, that's a good.
that's some bad luck
That's
right there.
yeah, that's some bad juju. You got snake bit on that. Yeah, now Jack on a fiber, I could see where grayscale would work really well on a fiber because the way in which a fiber works. But I've never found a good application for it in the diode realm.
Hmm.
Brandy said we're twinning with the logo. Mine's bigger. Steve's is like, what is that, 20? No, it ain't 20 foot. What's that, 15 foot behind you, maybe?
Yeah, yeah.
It's hard to tell. But,
Guys tend to exaggerate that. It's
oh,
it's it's
yeah,
12 feet maybe.
I hear you. Uh, yeah, mine is a lot closer. But
Well,
I
when you're at
apologize.
advanced age, you need it bigger to be able to read it. So
I'm gonna let you have that today because man, I'm telling you, this stool is really wearing me out today. I've been fine all day, but I've been standing up and I sit down in this chair and I bought a new chair because I thought it would help, but it don't.
gonna
I
need
did
one of those $600 chairs.
apparently, yeah, apparently I'm gonna try to like sit on it and let the other leg just kind of hang and see if that works. Uh, he said with grayscale on the fiber, it takes about 256 passes. What the world? That just sounds weird.
It would sound weird doing it 256 times.
Yeah, that would take a while. She's making fun of me. I'm getting old. A good roll around chair with a little. Yeah, this one they built this chair, and I'll show you guys this. They built this chair, and it's supposed to be like contoured to fit you, but I'm guessing they contoured it out around 120-pound female because it does not fit my rear end, and these little pieces that are supposed to be contoured do not fit my contour. So it puts pressure on that nerve right where it's bothering me at. So, oh, by the way, Steve, I know you saw it earlier. Look at that. Yeah, that's right. And the cool thing is I can turn that spindle on and off from over here with the software. It did take a little bit of electrical engineering, but it worked.
It's very handy to get all that set up that way. So
Yes.
now, if it was, just not tiny.
It's not tiny. I have you know that's a piece of that piece of wood right there, sir. That is a 12-inch, or actually it's about a 15-inch wide piece of wood. Let me see. I'll tell you exactly how wide it is. It is 15.125 inches by 8.25 inches. That's it right there. So, hey, I'm learning, man. We all got room for, I don't have two shops like you do. So, but anyway. Yeah, Chris, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go by the Kubota shop because my Kubota tractor and lawnmowers, the seats are really comfortable. So I think I'm going to go by the Kubota shop and buy me a Kubota seat and engineer myself a mountain bracket and mount it on here.
I'll be sitting there on springs bouncing.
Hey, whatever it takes, man, I'm going to tell you. This stuff, I never really understood when people were talking about having a pinched nerve in their, like, sciatic nerve. Over the years, riding around a patrol car with a gun belt on and a wallet in your pocket, I have had some issues where my sciatic nerve got irritated. And for 2 or 3 days, it hurt. But we're going on I waited 2 weeks before I went to the doctor. So I'm going on a month with this thing. And it's really starting to get annoying. So.
Yeah, I've been there with a pinched nerve. It's not fun.
But I did buy me
sit
this.
for a long time.
I did buy me this cool little thing where I can intimidate bats and hang upside down. That has a massager and heat in it, and it actually helps, but it's not fixing it. I was hoping it would fix it.
Well,
Yeah, my office chair at work has a lumbar support, and I got around there the other day messing with it, and I've got it tuned to where when I'm at work, it's okay because I've got that chair, and it's like a really, really cool chair, but they don't make one of those that comes up as high as I need it in here. So, not to mention it take up way too much room. Anyway, guys, questions, comments, concerns? Anybody want to crack at Steve's shirt and figure out what it means today? Brian's not here, or we've already been discussing that. Yeah, Jim, I'm learning that, guys. I'm learning that. It's something new every day. Scooby, I like the video on the rugs. That might be my old video. Have you got a video on the rugs?
no, it's got to be yours.
Okay. Must be my older one I did. Yeah, it was pretty handy. Now, that rug's been destroyed by dogs. It's got so much dog hair on it because it's in the back porch now. But it's you can still see it, but it ain't what it was. All right. Questions, comments, concerns? Anybody want to see the CNC move around on its own? But yeah, see, watch this, Steve. Let me show you here. Let me get it to where I can move everything around here. Look at that, Steve.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've got my wireless game controller that can be doing it.
I've got some PlayStation controllers. I could do that. I just choose not to. See, look right here. Watch it. This is the cool part right here. This is what it took some. It took some, like I said, some electronic engineering. But check this out. Watch this. That's right. Spindle is active, baby. Spindle is active. So that is what I have been working on this afternoon. After I got through with the video with Brandy, got that uploaded. But yeah,
Uh,
I'm digging it. And don't you have you have something similar coming? Do you know it?
uh, yes, something similar.
Is it a
Um,
surprise? Is it a surprise? Was I not supposed to mention it?
well, I got to work through one thing first, and it's in a little relation to this question here, wondering about the Genmitsu LC40 and the X-Tool D1 Pro 5 watt. So I actually just put together the Genmitsu LC50 and have just started testing with that. I'm not 100% sure on all the features of the LC40 versus the LC50, but what I am liking on the 50 is that they do the cable management a little bit better than the default cable management on the X-Tool lasers. They also have a linear rail, so I'm just trying to look really quickly at the 40 to see how that compares. All right, so the 40 has the coiled cable management, and that was one that I had on one of the earlier lasers, and I really like that because it helps keep it out of the way. Um, the 40, it looks like their rail system is somewhat enclosed, so I can't quite tell what they're using. But price-wise, if you're looking at a 5 watt laser, it's going to be hard to beat that SainSmart price. It's under $300. But X-Tool is very popular. There's a lot of people out there using it, and there are some aftermarket mods, or you can upgrade from a 10 and maybe even to a 20 from there if you find that without having to completely swap out your frame. Whereas, not sure what SainSmart has that'll fit on the LC40. So,
Yeah. Did you try one of the STLs? Let's see. Jack, I did try to load a couple of them, but that was still in my learning phase. I haven't yet, but I've got a couple of those that I downloaded from you, and I plan to try them. But the engrave time using that stock spindle with that little 1/8 inch bit was like 18 hours. So I decided to hold off on attempting at any of those designs until after I got the walt in place. Where because like I did a burn today, the one that's on the machine right now, that piece of material, and that thing, a similar design with the stock spindle. The other day that I did one of the signs that I did, me and Brandy put in the video. That thing took 6 hours with that 1/8 inch bit, even with a, I think it was a 60-degree bit that I had in there. I did one today that was comparable in size and amount of engraving, and it took 35 minutes. So it's a big game changer. So I'm going to get a little more adventurous on what I can do now that I've kind of got the idea of how it works. So, uh, yeah, somebody, Kevin said he saw where the boss was in the shop. Yeah, she tried to take over for a minute there. I got her straightened out. Uh, Big Scooby for making the keychain jig. Is that hard to do? I missed the first. Oh, the keychain jig. The no jigs aren't hard. Not if you buy those files out of my Etsy shop. They're easy.
so Norbert, on when looking at a CO2 laser and looking at the larger size, you're definitely going to need to go a little bit bigger. You're going to be into like probably the 60 watt size, and I think Momport and OhmTech have one that's maybe 28 by 20-ish, give or take. My concern there is that anytime you get to the absolute extents, you need to have everything perfect with that machine. And so the further out in the extent you get, that's where you tend to get into that kind of gray area where if it's off a little bit, it's going to be off a lot out in the corners. So that's just something to keep in mind. You could probably fit that into the 60 watt 28 by 20, and that's going to be about $2,900 for that. Now that's kind of a basic machine. It's got manual focus, not a whole lot of extra features, and that's probably not going to come with like a chiller. You're probably going to want to be looking at upgrading the dust or the smoke extraction fan, things like that. So I would plan on another $500 to $800 above that. I'm not sure what they do for shipping either, but that's where I would start. But you know, I like to have a little bit of extra buffer. I don't like maximizing the work area on any of these machines because anytime you get towards those ends, you're kind of asking for trouble. So
Yeah. Yeah, Jim. Hopefully, when I retire, I can build me a little bit bigger shop. Me and Brandy had that discussion today, because the CNC thing. Steve had told me that I would get addicted to CNCs. I didn't think he knew what he was talking about, but it's starting to look like he may actually have known what he was talking about because I'm really enjoying myself with it now that I could actually make products with it in a decent amount of time. Uh, but yeah, it's Bigger Shack is definitely something that's on my mind. It might not be on hers, but it's on mine. And I don't know what we're supposed to be imploding, but we're going to try not to implode anything. I missed the other half of that
yeah.
somewhere.
Well, and trying to not be a drug dealer there, but I mean, just knowing the things you've been making between those stove covers and some of the signage, that's where I think a CNC on some of that bigger stuff you'll find as you get the right bits and you've got the bigger router and mill in there, you're gonna be able to do those so quickly. It just opens up a lot of
Yeah.
opportunity for you to turn things around faster. So ideally, it's not a toy. It's an investment in your business, and that's
Oh yeah.
where, I mean, I think everybody that wants to play with one, yeah, if you get the money and the free space, go for it. But for what you've been doing, I think it's a good investment for your business as well.
Yeah. Kevin's asking about stove covers. Yeah. That's two of them I got done this weekend that I've got to turn in. But Kevin, the way that I do it, I engrave those before I put the handles and everything on them. Those are just a solid pine panel when I engrave them, and I drop them in the P20 over here, and burn those. So if you have one that's already got handles on it, then there's going to be a little bit of a. Personally, I would probably go ahead and take the handles off, get them out of the way. But if it's already put together, you're going to have to do a little bit of engineering to get your laser in there to where you can engrave it without hitting anything.
So Isaac, between the Atom Stack S30 or the longer B130, I mean, they're both really nice. Atom Stack has expansions for a uh, longer in the with the y-axis, but the longer B1 starts out a little bit bigger. So if you can get everything into that 450 by 430, you get a lot of machine there. It might. I mean, I think what you've been seeing, your longer one, 30 watts, running a little hotter than the Atom Stack 30 watts we were testing. So,
Oh yeah.
if that's consistent across theirs, you're probably going to squeak out a little extra power on there
Yeah.
as well.
Well, I will throw this out there. If you're looking at getting a bundle with a rotary, uh,
Is it true?
Adam, Adam Stack, Adam Stack's rotary is top notch. The Chuck rotary combo they have, theirs and Acer's are like, I don't know, double first cousins or maybe brother and sister, but they share a lot of the same characteristics. But I don't know that longer offers a chuck, but if I were going to use one on the longer, it would either be an Acer or Atom Stack, because you should be able to just connect them to the steppers. Now, the steppers connection may be a little challenging on the longer. I haven't really looked into that yet. Somebody's asking for my Etsy shop. I'm trying to get to it here. But if you go to Etsy and just search for the Clack Shack, you can't miss it.
Of course, Chris says you might not be able to get the extension kit shipped to your house.
Yeah.
Uh,
But I'm sure there's some dude in LA that'd be more than glad to sign for it for you.
yeah, yeah.
That's ridiculous. Da, da, da.
All right, John. There are a couple places that you can get some plans that are in what you'll be looking for is in DXF format. So there's a site called aerofred.com and another one called Outer Zone. that you can search for RC airplane plans, and some of them are just the PDF images. They're just raster, but some of them also have the DXF files that you can play with for cutting. Unfortunately, I end up generally having to try to draw my own, and then that tends to take a long time because I'm busy with many other things. So, but those are a couple places to start at least looking where you can find some digital plans that might be able to play with.
Yeah, I have no idea on the RC planes. That's your wheelhouse there.
Well, it's actually the original reason I got my big laser was doing some development uh, on some RC airplanes and such. So so that was kind of what got me into some of this.
Yeah. Well, all right, guys. If any of you's new, while it's quiet and it appears the questions have tamed down a little bit, and try to distract my wife from getting on me anymore. If you haven't already, go check out the Laser Engraver community page on Facebook. Uh, that's kind of the hub for where Steve and I and a lot of the guys that are in the Sunday Night Lives, we all kind of show off what we've done and ask questions. If you have any troubleshooting, Steve and I try to keep up with what's going on in there. And there's a lot of other guys in the group that are really knowledgeable that will be in there to help answer questions for you too in the event that me and Steve are working or doing whatever. But go check that out on Facebook. And also, of course, if you haven't already, go check out myself and Steve's channel. And guys, if you haven't subscribed to Steve, go on over there and hit him up if you're coming in from my side of things. Go over there and hit the subscribe button. Now, make sure you're not already subscribed and you don't click it again and unsubscribe.
Yeah.
So, just a little waiver there.
That would be unfortunate. You'd miss out on all the fun. But yeah, and if you happen to come in from my channel and you haven't subscribed to David the Clock Shack, definitely do that. He puts out a lot of fun content, a lot of projects where he's making stuff for others. He's testing out machines. He's hacking machines with making them practical. All that fun stuff. So we try to support each other quite a bit, and we appreciate everybody doing the same as well. So.
Well, I'm monitoring it right now, Steve, but I'm looking forward to the day that Galactical is actually in the Webster's Dictionary. It's coming. It's coming. I'm going to get it in there.
It's going to get some traction, huh?
I'm going to get it in there before it's over with. But but yeah, I actually, and I know Steve is the same way. Yes, I have a YouTube channel, and yes, I do YouTube videos, but unlike some channels or whatever where they're showing you lasers and showing you different things, this isn't just a place where I get lasers in and put them together and show them to you guys and then put them in a closet or sell them or whatever. I use the machines and I give you my honest opinion, and I'll show you real world uses of them. Now sometimes they come in a little frequent, and so it's like it's like Christmas. My wife says sometimes that it's like Christmas at the Clack Shack year round, because when a new machine comes in that does something that what I already have doesn't do, then I have to reestablish the pecking order. But Steve and I both, like I said, we use the equipment, we test them out, we do a lot of things to try to give you guys as much good information as we can. And let's face it, guys, it's fun. I mean, I get out here and I make things for people, make a little money to buy some tools with, and have a heck of a good time. So.
Yeah, and I tend to dive into the details on them. I like to like David said. I don't really. You can kind of tell some of the videos that they open it up, they do one project, they say it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and then you never see it again. And those are kind of tough to watch because you don't get a good feeling on do they really know the machine or do they really test it out. I like to try to test it out a little longer, really dig into the details of what they're saying, and then try to throw a real world project at it at the same time. So sometimes it takes me a little bit longer to get a video out just because I'm digging into some of those details, and this isn't my full-time job by any means. They're very much a hobby. But yeah, it's fun. I enjoy it and try to help people. I try to have some education in every single video. Try to give people some snippet of information of here's how to do this or here's an idea to that. So yeah, and I like to get ideas from the crowd here or the comment section. So if there are things you want to see done or questioning on how to do, those make great video ideas because if you're asking it, someone else is asking it too. So feel free to send those our way.
Oh yeah, and I stole another idea from you the other day, Steve.
Oh,
I stole it from your video. I'm sorry. I apologize.
well, as long as it's a video I've already done.
Yeah, it's which now I did go a little bit cheaper route, but I had to get myself some of that instant glue that you use to make that
Sure. Yep.
that wall hanger thing the other day. I saw that and I'm like, wait, the glue's dry? What? So I bought some of it, but I will tell you, you have to make sure you don't get that stuff on your finger before you spray that activator.
Yeah. Yeah.
So because
Yes.
when they say instant, that they mean it's instant.
So, so yeah, CA glue, super glue. This is accelerator. I've got the Star Bond is a nice. This is becoming a very popular brand that's out there. I like it because you can find it on Amazon and it works well. I've had mixed results. I've used CA for years with model airplane stuff, but it's same stuff here. This is from Bob Smith Industries. It's called Instaset, and even though super glue can be fast, this stuff makes it almost instantaneous. But it's a chemical reaction, and it causes the cyanoacrylate glue to almost boil. So it heats up really quickly. So yeah,
Yeah.
you don't want to get
See,
it on your fingers to begin with, and then if you hit it with accelerator, you can you can get burns. So
this is the stuff I wound up going with because it was the cheapest stuff I could find, and it it, it works. It works, and it comes with the instant
yeah.
activator, and
Well,
it is instant.
so the other thing
So
too is yours looks pretty thin. Like it might be kind of like water. Like this is I don't know if you can. You can't really see the stuff in there, but this is very very
it's
watery.
not. This is not real
Okay,
thin.
yours is a little bit thicker. So this is a thick one as well. This is probably better like that. So you definitely don't really need to use accelerator with this thin stuff. This stuff will wick into the fibers of the glue. It'll wick into your finger. It'll fill in your fingerprints. So if you need to not have fingerprints for some reason for a day, you could coat it with this stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, actually the original use for this stuff was field sutures. So it was meant to bond your skin to stop bleeding really quick. Battlefield suture type stuff. So it is
Yeah.
okay to use on your skin, but I'd be take it easy on it. So
Yeah, this stuff, like I said, I bought some of it because I have those things that I want to glue and I want it to be like right then. Most of the time I use wood glue or Gorilla Glue, but I got the Gorilla Clear. I like that stuff, but this stuff it's insane how fast it does what it does. Oh,
now the tip on it, and then we'll move on. Is you want to keep it. Um, you want to keep it from setting up, and so putting it in the fridge or putting it into a mason jar will actually prolong the life because the moisture in the air will eventually degrade the quality of the CA and actually cause it to thicken up and not work as well. So if you get a bigger bottle that you're not going to go through as quickly and it's maybe out in your humid, warm workshop, throw it in a mason jar or throw it in the fridge and it'll help prolong it.
well, no, it's only 47.6% humidity in here right now with the air conditioner going. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. You know, we have air conditioning at the shack, Steve. Yeah, I am learning how the CNCs can excel at certain things there, Don. I haven't got bold enough yet to try to cut something out with the CNC. I did cut out the one thing on MDF, and now that I've got the bigger router in here, I think I'm going to try it again. But I've just got the router upgraded today. Got the automatic relay set up to where the DeWalt comes on and off by itself. So I'm gonna keep playing. I'll update you guys along the way. I'm probably gonna do a video just on what I've done to the machine and my thoughts of it so far. I did want to use the factory spindle for a little while just to be able to speak from that experience and see what a drastic difference it made. So that was something I was interested in. Oh, look at there, Mr. Valley Forged. Y'all, this this guy right here. he's actually he got my attention a while back because he mentioned me in a couple of his videos. But hello there, Valley. He's got those cool glasses like you got, Steve. They're orange.
They're good.
They're orange, but they're big.
Yeah,
Uh, but
they're good ones.
but yeah, yeah. The B1 is loud, but I don't mind it as much because in my 3/4 inch thick enclosure, it's not really that bad when the door's shut. And if I get tired of listening to all the noises, guys, I got my ISO tunes that I wear in the shop. Because when I'm running the planer and doing all this different stuff, I like to listen to my music. And most of the time, I can't hear any of my speakers over the tools. So I put these guys here on. They're Bluetooth. They connect to my computer so I can listen to my music. So I really doesn't bother me. The one thing that I will say, and me and Steve have discussed this about those machines that sit there so quietly you don't know that they're on, is that this is according to Steve, and he is. I consider him to be my technical expert. Uh, the steppers, even though they're not doing anything, when they're sitting there trying to hold that machine still, they're still, in essence, doing work. And so, if over a period of time they could get too hot, or it could cause issues with them. And so, I'm not too certain that I didn't have a machine that was really quiet. That was the demise of it. But it is good to have a kind of an audible reminder to turn your machine off when you're shutting up the shop for a couple of days. So I'm not totally against machines that I can hear running.
Yeah, it depends on the machine and also the bit you're running, how well your dust collection works and such. Um, but for me, when I was running the model airplane stands, and I would be on weekends, I'd be running them like 8 hours a day, um, and I was still working in the shop. It was just nice to have that muffled down. It doesn't eliminate the noise completely. You can still hear it, and that's one of the things with the CNCs is you get used the CNC routers, I should say. You kind of get used to what is a normal sound and the oh something went wrong sounds, or that speed is too fast, that speed is too slow. A lot of it is a little bit on the sound of the bit going through the material and such, as well as visually watching it and such. So, but um, containing the dust, because even a good dust collection system, some of it can still escape, and then also just keeping the sound down. It's kind of nice. And so on a smaller CNC like you've got your little baby one there, it's a lot easier to build an enclosure than say my 50-inch plus wide and 150 that's going to take a mortgage payment's worth of plywood to build around. So
Oh man, there we go. Yeah, but no, I think let's see. Uh, Valley was talking about the fan on the B1, how loud it is. That was what I was referring to. But yeah,
yeah,
but but yeah, the enclosures make a difference no matter what the machine is, especially like I said with CNCs. Now, I will tell you that these have the aware
yep.
settings, so you can still hear, but you can set it to where anything over a certain decibel, it doesn't like mess with you. I wear them when I cut grass also because I like to listen to my tunes when I'm running the lawnmower. I wear them. I pretty much wear them all the time. Sawmilling. I mean, whenever I'm doing something loud, I wear them.
I need to buy a new pair of those. I had one of the Gen 1 versions of those, and I went to charge them on that little USB plug, and I went to plug it in, and the whole port just went bloop inside the case.
Yeah.
So it disconnected from the board, and I was like, oh. So they're a good set though. I like those.
Uh, oh, I have an idea what's causing this. Would you like to touch on it? I know you're thinking the same thing.
Well, it could be a number of things.
What would you be your most likely candidate be though?
Um, Obviously, there is an alligator that is chewing on his cable.
No, that wasn't what I was thinking.
Okay, all right.
I was
No,
thinking
it's
more about the eco settings.
yeah. So, especially on newer computers, they like doing lots of things to help save power, including if you haven't used your computer in a while, it starts not only shutting off your screen, but it starts turning off other ports as well. So your USB ports do have power saving features that can be turned on or turned off. And so if you're doing like a long burn, especially from light burn, it will, and you don't touch your computer and it has power saving turned on, it will start turning off your screen and turning off your ports before it actually puts your computer to sleep fully. So I would definitely go in and check all of those to make sure that your laptop's not going to sleep or turning off your ports. I wasn't sure
Uh,
if you were going to dig up how to do that or not.
what's that?
Oh, I just wasn't sure if you were going to do a quick demo on that or not.
Oh no, I've actually got a video on that.
Ah, there you go.
The power saving settings. I think I named it, and y'all bear with me. I don't know what I was thinking when I named the thing. But it's like how to keep your computer from going to sleep while you're engraving or something like that. But no, I was looking. Everybody was asking for a link on those
Yep.
ISOs.
IsoTunes. They also have some earbud style. They've got they're like the memory foam or those compressible foam earplugs that also have they have a dB rating as a safety dB rating. I have a pair of those that work okay as well the over the ear ones. The over the ear ones obviously do better at the sound control, and like you say, have the nice aware feature. But IsoTunes do make some decent gear that are Bluetooth connectable.
Yeah. Well, there's the video that I did. There's actually several settings that you may want to look at. That if you, even if you have went through there, you might want to watch the video just to make sure because the latest versions of Windows are they're really like geared towards not using battery power, and whether it's plugged up or whether it's unplugged can affect those settings on the machine. So you can change. Technically, you can have it plugged up, change the settings, and then when you unplug it, the settings are going to go right back to the way they were. Uh, but other than that, maybe try a different USB cable, and even you may even want to like totally remove your X tool from the computer, and then add it back. So just to make sure that there's not a driver issue or some kind of conflicting drivers. What in the world y'all got going on over here? What have y'all have stirred
Um,
her up? What have y'all done?
yeah, so if you're using the stock cable, maybe try swapping that out. It's a pretty typical cable. If you've got a longer cable, what you might want to do is go back to the stock one, but get a powered USB extender or a powered USB hub in there. If you're trying to run it from further than I think the stock 6 to 8 foot cable, you can, but you do want to try to amplify that with a powered hub, and that can help as well.
Yeah, if you are using a hub, I recommend a powered hub, and so does Steve. We've had this conversation before. But typical just USB splitters, especially on some laptops due to power constraints, you may wind up having like a voltage dip or something. Try to power too many USB devices. So a powered USB strip in your shop where your lasers are is always a good investment, especially USB 3. That's really nice.
Hmm.
Anthony, you can throw them out there, man. We'll try to get to them as we can for sure. Now sometimes we're a little slow going through all the comments, but right now I think I'm getting. Me and Steve are getting getting raws. Brandy says you're going to make me want a bigger CNC. It's too late for that though. I already want a bigger one. I told her earlier. I was like, man, I wish I had a little more room in the shop where I could go ahead and get one.
Well, they make them.
Oh, I know they do. I've looked at them, but I've got to get better at it. I've got to get more efficient at it. I did order. Some folks were telling me to throw the little clamps away and get some tape. So I did do some research and I found some tape on Amazon that was affordable. And
Oh, oh,
so I
oh,
ordered me
yeah.
some tape.
No, 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 no.
We'll see. We'll see.
You got some painter's tape and CA glue. You're set to go.
Yeah, but this stuff was like $20 for like 3 rolls of like 100 foot each. It's
Yeah. I've used a lot of that double sided tape, and it gets gummy. It's annoying, but the CA and tape method works really well, and
Huh,
It's a
I
lot
didn't think
easier.
about that. I could have done that today if I'd
Yeah.
thought about it.
So you put the tape down on your spoil board. You put the tape down on your material. You put a little CA between the two. Maybe put kicker on one side. Press it down. That locks it in place. And then it's just painter's tape that you pull off of each side. So it'll hold it. And then you pop it up. And then when you're done. So try that. You'll probably be happy with it.
Well,
That's what I do 90% of the time. Even though I've got different clamping methods as well. So
yeah. Well, I will. I'll have to try that. Like I said, I'll have options that way. But I did see where there's other uses for it as well. So
yeah, no,
we'll see.
but yeah, sometimes I just find that sometimes you get that gummy double sided tape stuff into your bit, and it messes with stuff when you're doing through cuts and things. But
Yeah. Yeah, Chris. Two reasons why I prefer the over the ear. Uh, in a previous life, I worked in the woods and ran a chainsaw every day and run heavy machines that had 36-inch circular saw blades on the end of them. And so I was exposed to a lot of sawdust. And we had to wear earplugs. So every time I took my earplug out, put it back in my ear, took it out, put it back in my ear, you just basically just shoving sawdust down in your ears over a period of a day. So when I got into running the sawmill, you have the same problem with the sawmill is if you put something, stick something down in your ear and you got sawdust in your ears, then it just creates a problem. So I prefer this approach as well. Uh, and in the wintertime, it keeps your ears warm.
what are you worrying about winter down there? Yeah, no, I prefer over the ear except for glasses, and then if you get the wrong set, I can only wear them
Yeah.
for so long before it really starts hurting. So
Yeah. Yeah. You do have to get creative with how you wear your glasses when you're, if you put them on right. Somebody says he thought the SD card was loaded with the burn. Once mine is burning, I'm working on a new file. I don't know that I would open up a new file in the workspace that you're using. What I would recommend is open up another instance of Lightburn. Don't like delete what is in Lightburn, but just open up another instance, minimize that one, get it out of the way. Because I've never tried to just like send a burn and then close Lightburn. I don't I don't know, but I don't think that would work out real well because depending on how many layers there is, it streams so many layers at a time, or is it? I don't know if it streams the whole job. It depends on the machine, I guess. But I've never done it that way. What do you think, Steve? Do you know for sure? Does it send the entire file, or does it do segments?
um, I think so. So are we talking through XCS or Lightburn?
Well, not sure. I don't
Because
think
I
he
think
specified. I thought he said
XCS,
Lightburn earlier.
yeah, Lightburn streams it, so it doesn't send the whole file before it starts it. It does. The machine will cache it to a point, and so depending on how much you had, it may have all been in there. But XCS, I'm pretty sure it sends it all over to it. So yeah, like Jack said, there's a buffer in the laser controller, so it's going to stream so much to it at a time, and it'll continue going through that.
Yeah, it's kind of like
Like
kind of like the spooler on a printer, where like if it can fit it
mhm.
all in there, it does it in one pass. But if it can't, then it breaks into segments. I would think. Like if it's a really elaborate burn, I would think it would send like the first set, then the second set, then the third set. But if it's a small burn, it probably just sends every bit of it. So I guess it would be depend. You would have to really like monitor the data stream between the printer or the laser and the computer to know for sure. But I recommend, since it doesn't matter and you can do it, I would recommend just minimizing Lightburn and open up another instance. That way, you don't have to worry about if it's an issue or not. That's what I
Mhm.
always do because I'll have 5 instances of Lightburn going on this machine at one time. And like today, I had Lightburn, easel, and Lightburn because I had 3 lasers going, a CNC, and was listening to my music. Uh-oh, there we go. We got somebody having a terrible time with a D1. Mm. Mm. XCS. I have limited knowledge of XCS.
So when it says it's shut down twice after just starting, but says completed, does the software come shut down, or is it the laser? I guess if it says completed, the software is probably still running. Hmm. Yeah, I had opened up XCS recently to do a little bit of testing with it, but I haven't run into that exact issue. Is it with the same file, or does it? Have you tried uh, maybe a different file just to test on maybe some scrap material to see if it shuts down? Laser stopped, and the software says it's completed.
Unless maybe there were some layers that were set to ignore or set to tool line only. And I think at XCS it depends on the color, whether it's a tool line or not. I have very limited knowledge of XCS.
Yeah, I was just dropping it back up here on my computer to check a couple things. Um, I would definitely try, just to eliminate the possibility. I would try uh, just a sample test on some cardboard or something, just to see if it might be something with the file.
She said it's possible she did have one thing ignored. She'll check that. But I mean, I can't. Like I said, I am a toddler in the world of XCS because I haven't used it since it came out. I've been 100% Lightburn. I think I powered it up at twice. Once to turn off the flame sensor and once to check for updates. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Whew.
I mean, if you have
Time to
ignore
stretch
on,
legs.
it does still show both things in the job. And if you're on, like if you have layer 2 set to ignore, but layer 1 is set up, that could be easily missed. Um, so that would be something to check. Otherwise, I would, like I say, just to confirm that it's just the file. Maybe try something secondary first, or just a second file on something scrap. But yeah, those little bugs can be annoying.
Oh yeah,
They're
I've
not.
seen
Oh,
a,
they're on.
I've seen a lot of folks get really really frustrated with machines and it be just like really simple something. I've
Yeah.
been there. I've been there myself. I think you have too.
Well, yeah, Tammy, if you're definitely, Lightburn's got the free trial. You got 30 days to try it out. You do need to make sure you download the Xtool config file from their website to get it loaded in there so it communicates. And you need to make sure that XCS is turned off and not talking to your laser to make sure that Lightburn can see it. Um, but I think in the long run you'll be a lot happier using Lightburn with the D1 Pro anyway, um, over XCS. They've made it a nice software, generally easy to work with. But yeah, when you run into some problems, it's also kind of, because it's so easy. There's not a lot of things to try to figure out what it could be.
Yep. All right, guys. Questions, comments, concerns? Anything to keep Brandy from bringing up this whole idea about me needing a bigger shop? Because we already know that's the truth. That is the gospel. I do need a bigger shop.
Yeah, I mean, but everybody says that,
No,
no
I
matter
mean
what
it.
size you have.
I mean it. Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn this into my like household maintenance shop. Like keep all the stuff for working on stuff around the house in here, and then like the clack shack operation will go somewhere else.
All right, so Anthony, yeah, when you auto detect your laser in Lightburn, it's going to come up with whatever random name the board has for it, and oftentimes that is going to be something like GRBL, maybe a 400 by 400 or something like that. It rarely has the actual name of the laser. So you'll find that yeah, you're gonna want to rename that to whatever your laser is, especially if you have more than one, or if you want to set up a different profile for some reason, like maybe you're setting up a rotary profile for it versus your flat profile or something like that. So that's not abnormal, and yeah, just name it something you'll remember that makes sense.
Now, Chris, I think she was saying she was using XCS. That's why I'm very limited on what I know about it. Well, Chris, I actually don't have a lot of stuff in the house, so that's really not going to help me any. All my stuff's out here. This is my daughter coming here last night, and she was like, "You know, Dad, I just realized this is kind of like Dad's room, like, because you really don't have any of your stuff in the bedroom except for your clothes and stuff." She's like, "So this is kind of like your room." I'm like, "Well, exactly. That's why I decorate it the way I want to." My wife would never allow such as solid wood walls. She has gave me permission to do an accent wall on 3 walls in the house. That if I ever get caught up, I'm going to try to do. But yeah, I wanted to do our whole bedroom like this, but she didn't want to let me do that. Steve's like, I agree. You shouldn't.
Hey, y'all put covers on your stoves down there. I don't know.
Hey, I'm telling you. And let me pass this on to you guys. And I tried throwing some of you guys a bone. Clayton, which is the company that I do the stove covers for, they had like a work session meeting amongst like a regional meeting to where it was like all the different stores in the southeast came together and had this big meeting, and they all hit my store up and were like, "Hey, where are y'all getting these things that you're giving these people when you sell them a house?" And so they told them, and so there was like two or three other companies, like other locations, that were like, "Do you think we could get him to do them for us?" And of course, the ladies, my contacts, like, "No, I don't think so because we run him to death already. He's got more than he wants." Well, they did tell them, to look around in the area and try to find somebody that's local to them, and talk to them about doing it. Well, my buddy up in Calera, Todd, he does laser engraving. He's got a fiber. He's got an X tool. He's got CNCs. He's got bigger CNCs. Steve. Uh, uh, well, Todd wound up making a contact with the store that's in Pelham, which is about 40 minutes north of where I live. And he is currently in negotiations with them to provide them with the stove covers and cutting boards like I do. So that'll be another big gig for him. But there was one of the shops that was in North Florida was wanting to do it, and another one that was in West Georgia was wanting to know if I would actually do them and ship them to them. And I'm like, there's no way you're going to want to pay shipping on a stove cover to Georgia or Florida because it's huge. So if you're in those areas, and you might want to be looking for that if you're looking for some extra work. But just so you know, I'm not the only one now. My buddy Todd's going to be doing the store up here in Helena. And he called me. He's like, "Dude, they knew that," because apparently they asked him if he could do that kind of stuff. And he told me, he said, "Yeah, my buddy down in Clinton does that." And and they're like, "Really?" And he told them who I was. And they're like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah." So, well, if there's a Clayton Homes near you, which is a manufactured housing store, you may want to go talk to them and ask them if they've ever thought about doing housewarming gifts. And I would recommend taking some like free samples with you, and just leave those with them in a business card. That's how you get that work. That's Scooby said, "What's a stove cover for?" What's the word? Stove cover. It covers your stove.
So keeps insurance companies busy.
That's what it is right there. It sits on top of your stove and hides it. And you can use it as extra counter space. You can also use it as a serving tray if you like eating in the living room. They will fit from the arm of a recliner to the other arm of a recliner. Well, I will tell you, wives frown upon that. So if you're going to use one of those to eat in your recliner, your wife's going to frown upon it. Now, if you're doing work on a laptop in your recliner, it also works for that as well. So there you go. Steve said, Steve done got him some of them glasses like you got.
Well, no, those are even the there's another style that is like completely ski mask style. So he's stepping it up above a level above mine.
Yeah, I mean, when I was first asked to make one, I didn't know what a stove cover was necessarily. And believe it or not, Brandy was the one that asked me to make her one. But then I made her one, and I put a picture of it on Facebook, and then a bunch of people were like, "Oh my gosh, how much for one of those?" And so then I started selling them to other people, and then Clayton saw pictures of them on my Facebook page, and then they hit me up, and so now I make them about 150 of them a year. So you know, it's just crazy. Yeah, see, Brandy can tell you all about it. She was the original requester for a stove cover, and she's got one, but she bought a brand new stove that has this neat little griddle in the middle of it that nobody's allowed to use, and so now she don't want me putting one on there. Yeah, I know. You're thinking, Steve, why in the world would anybody buy a stove that has a griddle in between the eyes and not cook pancakes on that thing? That's what you're thinking.
Now,
I know you are.
now is it just a griddle burner or is it an actual griddle built into the stove?
No, it's a griddle. Like it looks like one of those Blackstones right down the middle between
Okay,
the eyes.
gotcha,
Like
gotcha.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's got like the little drip tray and all that good stuff. I threatened to. I threatened. I told she went out of town, and right after she got the stove, she went out of town and she called and she was checking in on me and the kids and everything. And I was like, "Oh, we're great. We're having a good time. We just got through cooking some pancakes on this new griddle on the stove. Kids love them." And I think she dropped the phone when I told her I was cooking pancakes on that griddle. But we haven't cooked anything on that griddle. I mean, it's been sitting there just like just every time I walk by it, I'm like, you could cook some awesome bacon on that thing. Get one of those things like they have at the Waffle House where you could cover it up. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, you could just get a Blackstone and do that.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be as fun.
Well, why? I mean, it'd be outside. It would be cleaner than frying things up on your middle of your stove,
You
making a
know who you
mess of it.
you know who you sound like, don't you? The woman that picked out the stove with the griddle in the middle of it. That's who you sound like. she said it still looks new. It's
You're
gross.
talking to you're talking to the guy who used the pellet stove outside all year long, even in the Minnesota winter. So
Yeah, yeah, Mark. Todd's a good dude. I talked to him for a while the other day when he was talking about that. Jack said he likes his Blackstone. Now Jack probably cooks outside a lot because, like, he just seems like he would be outdoors. That's what we need to do. I need to have a barbecue out here at the Clack Shack. We could have hamburgers and hot dogs. Yeah, we did cook some beeswax last night at the Clack Shack. Melted it down for candles.
now is hamburgers and hot dogs really barbecue?
Well, it's outdoor cooking. I mean, classify. You put some barbecue sauce on it, it's all the same. But my daughter, after I went and rescued those bees the other day, my daughter wanted all the wax. So last night she took my little outdoor boiler burner, and we boiled beeswax out front. As a matter of fact, I have a bucket of beeswax hardening up inside the kiln right now as we speak. Says the cats don't go swimming in it. She was scared to death that one of the cats would fall into the beeswax and be tarred and feathered.
I mean, you got permission.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. I'm sure she wouldn't mind. I would, but we haven't been able to cover that porch yet. So
Just put a
uh,
cover on the Blackstone.
yeah. Sorry, I missed part of that one.
Yeah, he said sorry, didn't finish. Well, let us know, Anthony. We
Oh,
could use another question, or we're going to talk about fake barbecuing on Blackstones that Clack doesn't have.
I mean, I don't have enough time to be using one. Brandy might could use one. I know you have one in your shop that sits behind you that looks like Was it what I think it was one day, like a CO2 laser or something? Like
I
that's
don't
what
know.
we're.
Yeah, it's still up on the shelf, but
See, she wants a larger deck. See, this is what y'all guys do. Y'all talk about me wanting a bigger shop. Now she's wanting a bigger deck.
well, you
All
got all
right.
that wood.
Yeah, but that's a lot of work, and it's got to be covered if I'm going to use anything that's not treated because it won't last long, and I'll be redoing it. Let's see. What we got? Anybody? Questions, comments, concerns? Anything but like picking on clack. Anything other than that? Yeah, see, my wife won't buy extras. I have like an uber conservative wife when it comes to shopping, and I tell her like, "Hey, babe, I could use some, some Tums because I get regular heartburn, and I get like one thing of them, knowing that I keep them everywhere, so I just have to wind up going to the store myself. Mine doesn't buy extra. If there's ever like an apocalypse or a type event and we can't buy anything for 60 days, we're gonna be out of everything, like out of everything. Now, Chris, we're trying to cut back. We're really trying to cut back. Um, Still need a Facebook community link. I thought I put that thing up there. That's the link right there. You should. Can you not click on that? Will it not let you? Is that not clickable?
No, that's just displays it on there. There, I'll put it in the chat.
Oh. There you go. Steve just dropped it in the chat. That's the laser engraving community page.
Make sure it's
started.
over on mine as well, because those don't drop on both places all the time. But yeah,
QuickBooks is dropping their point of sale system. I've already got a point of sale system through QuickBooks.
apparently they're dropping
What do
it.
you mean by dropping? Oh, you mean like getting rid of it? Oh, that sucks. I had to
Mm,
start using a Square then.
yeah.
I've got a Square too, but she does got nice things, guys. She got. Hey, look, she gets all the money, guys. I don't even have a checkbook. Okay, so she gets all the money. Man, they are on me tonight. Well, I really hate that though, because I really do like my QuickBooks little hockey puck looking thing.
So Chuck was asking what happened to the cut tool in Lightburn latest update. If you're referring, I mean, I've got 1.4.0 and it tells me there aren't any additional updates. I still have the cut tool. But you can also use the node editing tool, which will allow you to insert and delete nodes if that's what you're using it for. So I'm not sure what's missing.
I haven't used that anyway, so I wouldn't even know how to. I wouldn't even know how to start.
So I might be missing.
I'd have to go check out LA Hobby Guy or somebody to show me how to use that little cut tool. I haven't played with it. Yeah, guys. While Steve's looking at that, and y'all keep jumping on me, y'all know the only reason I was permitted to buy a sawmill. Actually, she didn't know I bought the sawmill until I accidentally let that out of the bag. But the only reason I didn't get in trouble for buying a sawmill is that she wanted a kitchen table that was going to cost her like $4,000. And instead of her buying the table, I made it for her with my own two hands. And I did not kill the tree. The tree died completely of natural causes. It was some type of, I'm sure it was some type of invasive species of grub or something that killed it.
It's a weird thing to call yourself.
Hey, it was some root attacking parasite that you couldn't see because it was below the dirt.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Is that called your shovel?
No, it was actually called a ditch witch, but we won't get into that. Kevin said he got lucky and got some 15-year-old walnut planks, 15-foot long for $20 a board.
That is pretty good.
That's a pretty good price.
I mean, I knowing some people, I'm able to get it for about $5 a board foot. So if you're unfamiliar with what a board foot is, it's uh, 1 inch by 12 inches by, so it'd be 1 inch thick by
12 by 12.
12 by 12. Yeah, sorry, I was getting my dimensions messed up there. So 12 by 12, 1 foot square, but also 1 foot thick. So if it was 6 inches wide but 2 inches thick and 12 inches long, it'd still be one board foot. So it's more of a volume than a measurement. So or
Yeah,
length.
if it's a 2 inch thick piece of material, technically a board foot is only a 6 by 6 inch square.
Yep.
Yeah, like I
Look
said,
at you,
that's the
school me on
one.
math today. But
Well, hey, it's not math. That's actually when I first started the Clack Shack. It was all about the sawmill, and
mhm.
so I had to charge by the board foot for lumber. And for the longest, I had a board foot calculator, but finally, I kind of got to wrap my head around it. So
Yeah. So typically, it depends on how you're getting it, rough sawn or S2S or S4S, which means how many sides are finished. It goes anywhere from 12, 15, $20 a board foot, depending on where you're buying it and how much it's milled. So getting $20
yeah,
a board for 15-foot boards, even if they're 3/4 inch thick, that's a really good deal. So
they say they're 6 inch thick, 6 to 8 inches wide. So still not a still not a bad deal. 6 inches wide. That means it'd take 2 foot of it to be a board foot, plus a little extra for that extra eighth. So it's not bad. Black walnut around here is not that common. Up there where Steve's at, they just like throw them out on the side of the road for the street department to pick up. But here, they're actually pretty rare.
you're not kidding there.
Yeah. Oh, I went through some parts up in Virginia, and like they were like burning them out in their front yard. I'm like, what are y'all doing?
Yeah, that's why I
Why?
end up
Why are
with
you?
walnut pieces. This is my offcut for my project.
Yeah. Yeah, Marcus, it's expensive here too. Luckily, I have a pretty good stack of it up at the mill. That's been air drying now for about a year, and I've got some that I keep in here for small pieces and stuff. Um, if I need something black walnut, I usually just grab a piece from up at the mill, and then I'll mill it down on my bandsaw in here. Yeah. Jack said he wished his wife would ask for a $4,000 table. I think he's trying to get a sawmill. But but no, she actually found out about the sawmill after I'd already bought it. It's hard to sneak those things into the house, guys. I mean, it's not like you know, it's easier to sneak firearms in than it is a sawmill. Sawmills they're kind of noticeable.
So uh, Anthony was trying to ask his question here. How do I stop when the laser from going back over the first part of the cut again? Um, what I would do is, if you're using Lightburn, I would use their tool that is, what is it? You can either auto join selected shapes, or you can delete duplicates. Depending on how it is, you might have a line that's either just off to the side a little bit and they need to be joined, or if they're actually overlapping each other, deleting the duplicates should take care of that extra line that's causing it to go over an area that's already cut. Because they can either be right on top of each other, or they can just be really, really close. So one or the other should
Or
help with that.
or just make sure you hadn't got it set to do 2 passes.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was assuming it wasn't doing the whole thing all over again. If it's doing the whole thing all over again, then make sure it's just set to one pass. But yeah, those are going to be under your tools or your edit menu. Um, you'll be able to find, whether it can. There's the select open shapes. You can use that to be helping tweak your files. There's delete duplicates. There's some optimize and auto join things. They're great tools to play around with, just to help kind of um, get your file down to the least amount of information possible to still be the same. So
Well, I mean, Anthony, you'd be surprised. Sometimes people, because I've done it myself, start a project, and because the project I did before that, I ran multiple passes. And I was out here cutting something the other day, and Klein looked over and was like, "Man, why are you running that three passes?" Because it had, I was like, "I don't know," but I had accidentally left it set to three passes, where I was playing with the uh, com marker, and it carried over into my new design.
Yeah, yeah, I've had that where I switch devices and start playing with the layers and forget to, you know, s- you know, set up its own library of settings.
Since it's doing it on all files, that's weird.
Well, I would. There is. Let's see here. I'm gonna have to look at it again too. There is a. You have to turn this on, but if you go into the advanced tab on a line, you have lead in and lead out. So that can be a line or an arc. Usually that's not going over the same area though. You can also have the overcut feature turned on. So I would double check those, but usually it's going to be actual geometry that the file is seeing. So having it look for any hidden geometry, any duplicate geometry would be the first thing I'd check.
Yeah, that would be one of those I'd have to run a few tests to see what's going on. Well, y'all getting awful quiet here. So you're talking. I really can't say for sure, Scooby. I've been doing some research on it, and I haven't come up with one to purchase yet. Mostly because right now I, I'm good on computers, and I have expended my computer budget for the year. But there's a lot of different ones out there. What is the who makes the Shield? Is it Nvidia? Nvidia makes some really powerful like mini PCs, but I think they may be a little overkill just for lasers and stuff. But there's a lot of aftermarket brands of PCs out there. It's more about the specs, I think, than it is whose name stamped on it. Just make sure it's got a good
I,
processor and plenty of memory and everything.
yeah, I mean, I've played around with the mini computers from time to time. The problem I have with them is you still have to then have a monitor, and you got to mount that monitor somewhere, and a keyboard and mouse. And so I just find a laptop is more portable. I can kind of move it out of the way. I can put it in different areas without moving quite as much stuff. So that being said, if you have a monitor and keyboard, you got a place to put it. A mini computer to attach to it is probably going to be cheaper than buying a new laptop for it. Um, but I tend to opt more towards the laptop, and then I can either build a mount or something for it, or be able to move it around. So
Yeah, well, see, I'm a little different on that. I've did the laptop thing, and I like my wireless keyboard, which I just dropped the battery back off of, and my wireless mouse. So I don't really. I prefer a PC over a laptop, but I'm gonna wind up putting one out here probably, but it's gonna be after this guy here dies. I'm not doing it anytime soon.
yeah, I
Uh,
think I think as you start to get your shop really settled into the way you want it, um, having a fixed PC would work. And for the number of years, I built a cart that could house either a monitor and a small PC or a laptop, and it really sat in the same spot for many years, just running my laser. Um, so it could have been a desktop computer with no problem. Um, right now, I'm a little more flexible in that I'm moving things around. I'm trying different enclosures. I'm trying different machines. So for me, a laptop makes more sense. But I've just thrown it out there as something to consider. Is if you're not completely fixed in your setup yet, you may find yourself moving a lot of extra stuff more often. So
Yeah. Well, this is well, you can't see the computer because it's down at my feet, but this is my wee little setup right here. I got this little space. This is it. So I do have stackable monitors, wireless mouse, keyboard. Got my Stream Deck here, all my little stuff over there. Phone charger, battery backup, camera, lights. Typical workshop setup. but uh, but yeah. Did you say you bought one of the Surface Pros or Surface?
I do have it's well, I guess I'd call it refurbished. So the college I work at, we recycle. Um, well, I should say we replace our employee laptops every 4 years, and the old ones we then put up through sale through appropriate means. And this past year, we actually had some Surface Pros come through there, so I grabbed one, mainly for portability, not so much for primary shop use, but it does run Lightburn fairly well. And this is probably about a 5 to 6 year old one at this point. Um, it runs Lightburn just fine. It runs some of my other mobile applications for some of my RC airplane stuff just fine. And it's lightweight, portable, and it can charge off a USB-C, which is one of the other features I got because rather than having an inverter that goes from my battery to AC power back to DC power, I can just plug straight into the battery that way. Just another little benefit from that. Um, so yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say you need to buy a brand new one, and they can work. The thing I don't like about it is if I'm not using it on a hard surface, the kind of flexible foldable keyboard is really annoying, and I almost never use the touchscreen feature on it. So really, a small lightweight laptop would do just as fine for me.
Yeah. Robert wants to know. I don't know if he's talking to me, you, or both, or what. If we advertise or promote businesses locally. Robert, I have only used Facebook. I did use Marketplace early on to sell some of my small bills and stuff like that. I created my Facebook page and started sharing pictures and so forth uh, locally with some of my friends, and it started out basically somebody that knew me that I was friends with. Somebody would say, "Hey, I'm looking at getting this made for my wedding. Do you know anybody?" And they'd be like, "Oh yeah, go check this guy out." And they would send them to my Clack Shack Facebook page, and then I'd get a message from there, and then just word of mouth. Now, keep in mind, I started actually doing my woodworking for other people. I've always played around with wood, and but I didn't have as many tools as I needed, and so it was limited to what I could do. But I've always played around with it, but I didn't really start like trying to promote my woodworking stuff until whenever the COVID thing started, and like all my side work kind of just dried up, and I was sitting around the shop and had some free time. I was able to actually get some projects out. But it started off mostly with me selling, rough cut lumber and mantel pieces and stuff like that. And it built up over time. And now you can now go into Clanton or Chilton County and ask folks, hey, who could I get to do this on a laser? And there's a really good chance they're going to mention me. Also, I have made friends with the other folks in town that do, have storefronts that do laser stuff. And there's a lot of times that they don't want to do certain jobs because they're doing assembly line products, and somebody comes in and is like, "Hey, I want to do this for my granddad. Can you do this for me?" They lose money shutting that machine down from doing those assembly line projects. So they'll just tell them, "Hey, no, we can't, but go talk to this guy and he'll knock it out for you." And he's pretty good about getting it done quick. A lot of time, I've had people with weddings call me the day before the wedding and be like, "Hey, we ordered some of these knives on Etsy, but they haven't came in, and the wedding rehearsals tomorrow, and we need them. Can you please do these knives for us? I've got some that don't have anything engraved on them." And I literally stayed out here till midnight getting those done so that they could give them out at the wedding rehearsal the next day. So it's just word of mouth mostly is what I do, and then go into events, meeting other business owners, whether it be restaurants, bars, sporting goods shops, whatever. Just make connections with people and say, hey, if you ever need this, this is who I am. Of course, your realtors, uh, home, any kind of home sales, housewarming, wedding venues, those are all good places to go. Just make yourself known at. Wedding venues is really popular. Clothes hangers, tumblers, gifts for the groomsmen. I've engraved everything from ammo cans, pocket knives, to tumblers, clothes hangers, bowls, plates. I mean, you name it. Uh, Weddings are they like having their name on stuff for weddings. But just average. Just I mean, you don't have to spend any money to advertise, but eventually you'll be like I am now. I kind of try to keep it low key because I've got more than I can do already. That's why I've got Klein turning out jobs for me, and I just got another friend of mine from high school who I'm fixing to start sending some work to because I cannot keep up. So it's it'll get out of hand.
Yeah, I've some of the similar. I mean, I don't push it as hard as you have down there, but just pick couple products that you wouldn't mind making, and throw them out on Facebook Marketplace, and maybe some local, if you have like the buy sell groups or even like a handmade in your area group kind of thing. It costs nothing but a little bit of time. Just take your time, make some good photos of it, add a good description of what it is and what you can do. And don't be afraid to charge a fair price for it. You can always, bring it down a bit, but it's always hard to bring it up. Don't, if there's a bunch out there and you're gonna make $2 a piece on them because everybody else is doing it, I would find something else. But it's free advertising, and like you said, that's kind of how some of the word of mouth will happen. Use your other social media links, with family and friends to a point. You gotta be a little careful with that.
Yeah.
But there's some of your first customers, and yeah, sometimes they will be like, hey, I know someone who does this, um, that can help them out as they're talking to people. But definitely the getting out there and talking to businesses and realtors and such, you're going to get turned down some, but it only takes one or two to get that spark going, and you're going to be to the point where you kind of pick what you want to do and turn down some of the rest. Of course, that's all dependent on your community and how big or how small it is. There are benefits to both. Sometimes in a bigger community, there's a lot of people doing it, but there's also a bigger pool of people maybe looking for this stuff. But I've also seen a lot of smaller communities really rally around their small businesses and their makers as well. So,
Yes, sir. Anthony, you can message me on Etsy. If you're having problems, though, man, I'm not. I try not to like make people mad, but if you're having problems with the file, you're missing a step somewhere, or the machine is having a problem. I had a guy today that messaged me, uh, thinking that my file was messed up, but then come to find out the timing linkage on his X tool was not properly tightened, and it slipped mid burn, which caused, of course, it caused everything to be like shifted off. But you can message me on my Facebook page, or you can message me through Etsy if it's a problem with the file. That's best. That way I can see that you have actually purchased it and know exactly which one it is. But I test all the files before I put them out there and burn them myself 2 or 3 times. Usually, until I burn it 3 times in a row and it fits perfectly, I don't release them. So there shouldn't be anything wrong with the file. Do not import the file. Open the file. If you're using XCS, which I'm guessing you're not with an Acer, you have to import the DXF. For some reason, XCS does not like importing SVG files from me. But with the Acer, there shouldn't be an issue unless there's a machine-related problem. Because you have to run it with Lightburn, unless I guess you could use that little app, but I wouldn't think you'd be importing files for an app. Yeah, Todd, you always gotta. It's like I told Klein when he was getting started. Always expect goof ups. I had a one off I did the other day that was a tumbler, and I don't recommend doing that, but it was a friend of mine that wanted me to do it, and she only had one tumbler, and she wanted her daughter's name on it. So I told her, I said, look, I can do it. I can put it on there. It'll be engraved. It may be gray to black text on this uh, red tumbler because I'm going to overcook it to make sure I get all the coating off of it. And she said that that was fine. And so I went ahead and wound up with like a medium tone uh, stainless burn. But it looked good on the black on the red tumbler though, because I knew that if I didn't go hot enough on red, it would, especially a Yeti brand, that those look like crud if you don't go hot enough on them. Always working a test piece. All right, guys. Comments, concerns. Brian's not here tonight. It's really hurting my heart there, Steve. I haven't got
Yeah.
to use my button all night long.
Mm, that's too bad.
Yeah.
I know how you like your button, your sound effects.
Yeah, but Brian will be back with us maybe. Comments, concerns, guys. Let's just don't get too quiet now. We'll start talking about
So,
Lord knows what.
so are you showed out for, or do you have more shows type things coming up, or gatherings? What's on your calendar?
Uh, I got an invite to one, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm trying to get caught up, and it's a smaller event. It's for the Humane Society here locally, and I would really love to participate because I like animals. I like dogs, but I've got so much other stuff I need to be working on, and just like you, I've got some equipment coming that I'm gonna have to spend some time with. So I may be on a break until May May is gonna have her open house sometime coming up. I will be doing it because it's May May, and I help May May and participate with stuff with May May regularly. And September the 9th, I will say this for any of you guys that maybe you've thought about, coming through Alabama, or if you're coming through Alabama September the 9th. September the 9th, there will be an event here locally, which basically there's going to be a lot of YouTube channels from all over, like central Alabama there. Myself, Cog Hill, Chestnut Hills, May May, uh, several other YouTube channels will be there. It's kind of a meet and greet, like, you know, come come see us type thing. I'm trying to come up with some stuff to have, like maybe some giveaways and cool stuff. So like some of these projects that I make in the shop for content related that I'm not actually selling to somebody, I may try to put them up there. Me and Brandy's talked about having like a drawing to where, if you come to the booth or whatever, you can set up to have the drawing and maybe might even win a stove cover, Steve. That kind of thing. But but yeah, that's the next big event that I'm going to have, and I know it's going to be big because Jason and Brooke over at Cog Hill are going to be there. They're 300,000 strong, and of course May May's close to 400,000 strong. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be a big event with those two there. I kind of feel like I'm gonna be, it'd be like if your high school team went and played in the NFL. That's kind of what I feel like. I'm gonna be like the little guy in the corner over there. But Mark, who was it asking about a 4-H fan? I did see something earlier.
So I'm gonna drop one in the chat there. I can't speak for this exact one, but if you're looking for one, there's these style that have two things. It's 200 CFM, so you kind of want to get the most, pulling the most air you can. But this style has kind of the middle section that comes out, and that makes it cleaning the fan a lot easier. So I would look for something like this. Look for something in that 200-ish CFM range. The other thing to consider is I actually, in my shop down here, upgraded to a 6-inch fan, even though I choke it down to a 4-inch. I'm still getting more CFM through that than I am just the straight 4-inch fan. So um, if you have a pretty straight, clean shot from your enclosure to your fan to the outside, the 4-inch is going to do fine. But if you're starting to add a lot of bends, or you're using a lot of that flexible hose and such, and you're getting kind of long, that your 4-inch fan is going to struggle to keep up moving that air out. So, but as far as style, there's a number of them on eBay. or not eBay, but Amazon and eBay. But they have, just look for that style that kind of has that middle section that'll come out. That'll, you do want to be able to clean these things, and that's going to make it a lot easier to be able to pop that out, clean it off, and pop it back in. So
Yeah, I'm running that Han and Guan still, a 4 inch, but I'm almost to the point to where I'm ready to go to a 6 pipe to a 4. Uh, but right now, I've actually got some tubing ordered. I'm getting away from the full tubing because I keep getting little punctures. I don't know if the cats are doing it or what, but I keep getting punctures in my tubing. I'm using that full stuff. So I ordered some of the rubberized 4 inch, like chip extraction hose. Kind of like the stuff that I've got ran everywhere on my machines for dust collection. It's a little thicker, a little less
yeah,
brittle.
yeah. I mean, if you can, ideally getting just the aluminum or steel straight pipe. It's going to have less turbulence on the inside of it than any of that other stuff. But anywhere you got to have kind of some flexibility, then you end up wanting to run that other stuff.
Yeah, I can't. Where I've got it, I can't do a straight shot. I would love to do a straight shot with
Yeah.
some 4 inch pipe, but I don't know that it's going to line up correctly. All right. Comments, questions? It's, once again, guys, we do have our group on Facebook. If you do Facebook, and I know some folks don't, we don't have a whole lot of like drama, so to speak. Somebody said something about drama earlier. We don't have a whole lot of that in our group. We even try to keep the bots weeded out and all the spam. Sometimes we slip, but you know, I think we do a pretty good job of it most days. But check that out.
So as far as events coming up, I do have one that I'm working on. Um, the Minnesota Woodworkers Guild is having their fourth annual Woodworkers Expo, and that's going to be up at Canterbury Park Expo Center in Shakopee, Minnesota, which is in the south side of the Twin Cities up here in Minnesota. And one of the organizers of that has been reaching out to me asking if I could be able to come up and do some laser presentations or demonstrations and such. So we're looking into the details of it, and I told them mark me down as a most likely. I just want to make sure that whatever space they have me in, I can do it safely, both from I'm sure I can put it in an enclosure and keep people from getting exposure between glasses and stuff. But I also need to make sure that any sort of smoke won't be an issue and such. So, but that's Saturday, October 14th. And as that kind of flushes out, I'll definitely get more information out there about that. So if people want to check that out, I'll likely be there doing some demonstrations of a variety of lasers. So.
Yeah, that would be neat. I would offer to loan you the portable clack shack to take with you, but you're probably not going to want to drive down here and get it.
Yeah, well, it is actually mostly indoors, so that would probably be difficult. Although, so the Canterbury Park, it's a horse track, and they do a lot of stuff. I'm sure they can get some pretty large things in there, but yeah, like I said, we're just kind of trying to work out the details of where I'd be and if I can if I can get the appropriate smoke extraction going so that it's not creating a hazard for others. So that should be fun. We'll be looking forward to it.
There you go. There's another one. I got to stand up for a minute. This darn leg. Woo!
Well, I've not talked with Comgrow in a little while about it. Definitely would be something I'd love to check out because I know both of us played around with the what is it, the Z1, the 10 watt. It was a very nice machine at the time, and so I'm excited to see they're coming out with something new. But yeah, I've got a number of irons in the fire, so I haven't exactly reached out to them about it right now. That's an upside down module.
I ran this on the O'Tour and on the Z1 for a long time. Recently, the O'Tour that was housing this got an upgrade, but I think it's very similar to the module that they're putting on their new machine. And I've also had the opportunity to play around with the Creality 20 watt, which looks a lot like Comgrow's handiwork as well. I think Comgrow and Creality are in cahoots, kind of like Acer and Atom Stack are. But I wouldn't mind seeing one. But that was the old Z1 20-watt module, and it done a really good job. It still works. I just don't have a machine to put it on right now.
So Scooby, the Infinity, I assume you're talking about AC Infinity. That's actually the brand I'm using down here. It's a little more expensive. I don't know that you get a lot for it, but they do have a few different modules for controlling the fan and such. I'm really happy with it. It's a really nice quality fan, but I know there are probably less expensive ones. Just make sure you don't get the real low end one. Pay attention to the CFM that the fan's going to move, because I know there are some quiet lower end ones that are just really not moving enough CFM to be effective enough.
Yep. Yeah, you got to have a lot of ventilation, but like I said, you also have to have enough air intake to support that CFM that you're getting as well. So, things to consider.
Yeah, I came across I forget where it was, but it was a thread on someone was talking about enclosures and such, and someone was complaining that they had tried to seal theirs up, but they were still getting smoke and their fan wasn't being very effective, but that their fabric one was working great. I said, well, that's because your fabric one is allowing the airflow and you were trying to seal yours. So you got to allow the air in for it to move out. So
Yes. Yes, this is true. And that's what a lot of people have problems with is the fan's sitting there running like crazy, but if it can't get air in, it can't push air out.
yeah.
All right, questions, guys. It's crickets in here tonight. It's gotten a little quiet.
It's those
Uh,
midsummer blues, huh?
apparently so. All right, guys. If you haven't already, I think most of you have. Go check out. Go hit that subscribe button. Give the video a thumbs up, a like. Share it if you want. I mean, I'm not a big advocate of sharing it because not everybody likes, this kind of content. But you can at least give us a thumbs up if you've been in here this long. It does help keep things going. It makes us feel better about the fact that we're spending a couple of hours, doing it, and people like it because it's all about those thumbs up some days. But if you have any questions or you have anything that you want to see in the lives, guys, feel free to shoot us a message or comment, email myself or Steve. I know we both have email addresses that you can send stuff to. And let us know if it's a question that you have or something like that. Suggestions for content. One of the biggest things that I will say with doing YouTube, and anybody that has tried it or has done it can agree with this, is sometimes you just don't know what the next video needs to be. So if you have something that you want to see or that you'd like to know how we do it, let us know and we'll try to knock that out for you. But keep in mind, you could tell me and Steve both, hey, I want you to do this project for me, and I would just about guarantee that we're going to do it slightly different from each other because we do our own spin on things. So if you see me do something and then you see Steve do something and we do it two totally different ways, it doesn't mean either one of us is wrong. There's just multiple ways of doing projects. That was one of the things I tried to point out in the video that I dropped earlier with me and Brandy, is that you can have a project and basically have the same result and go about it two or three different ways. It's all personal preference and what tools and resources you have available to do the job. So yeah, but if you have ideas, send them over to us there. Anthony, I do have visitors from time to time, but typically it's not like it's a tourist attraction or anything. We don't have like a visitor center. Uh, I have people come by and pick up stuff occasionally. I have had a few people that are local come by and help them fix their machines and so forth, but it's not something I do a lot of, to be honest, because this literally is in my backyard. So.
Yeah, so I have a small ask of everybody. I put together this kind of wall art thing and dropped a video of it today. I did the video style a little bit differently than I have in normal. I still try to put some information in there of the how-to and whatnot, but added a little bit of a twist on just kind of how I'm narrating it and whatnot. Loved some feedback. Is it good? Is it bad? I talk a little bit more about some of my other woodworking in there because I show cutting down the wood. So I'd love some feedback on is that stuff you'd like to see, or do you not care? Either way, go check it out. give me some feedback on that. I'd love to see what people think about it, and if they want to see more of that. So, but yeah, um, like Clack said, we've got different ways of doing things, and in some cases, we're learning new stuff. He's got the CNC machine that is fairly new to him. We both have the fiber lasers that we're still learning new things about, and in some cases, um, you guys have more experience on them. And I invite people to kindly um, give us, nudges in the right direction as well. I try to make it clear that I've been doing this quite a bit. I know a lot about it, but I'm not an expert in everything, if anything. So I always appreciate constructive feedback that helps me learn, and then I can help pass that on to others as well. So
Yeah. Somebody's asking about the chargers. I don't know if they're talking about my chargers or your chargers.
well, they said DeWalt, so
I didn't know if you had a DeWalt. I see some yellow behind you. I can't tell if there's a DeWalt charger back there.
well, I
Oh,
mean, yeah, I have a couple drills, but they were given to me.
but the DeWalt chargers typically on the bottom of them. I can't really bring one over here because I got all my cables ran. Let me see if I can pop one loose from the wall right quick. Oh, gosh.
See
No,
here,
I've got cable management.
here's the
I've got
perfect
my cable
idea. It's
management.
selling tickets to the clown show.
No, all of my cable management. I forgot I put cable ties to the post. Uh, those are all relatively new chargers. The single chargers. Hang on, I'll give you the model number off of them. Good gosh, this hip. Whew. I've got DCB 115 and DCB. Yeah, they're all DCB 115s. So if you have the DCB 115s, if you'll look on the back of them, they've got little feet, and those little feet are like almost like claws. And you just put two screws in the wall, and they hook down over top of it. Now, cheat for any time you're trying to mount something that has those little screw holes. Here's a really good cheat that you can use, and I won't charge you for it. Take some painter's tape, line it up across those two holes, and stick it to it. Press it in to where you can see the holes really well, and take a Sharpie and put you a little line and a little line. And then you can take that and stick it to the wall and drill the holes where they're needed, and then just snatch the painter's tape off, and voila, perfect alignment every single time. I just did that with my power strip that I ran for the CNC. I do that with all of them, but the DeWalt chargers do. This particular model does have they do have like little feet. Now they don't really look like feet, but if you look closely, they actually are made to kind of hook over a screw. So, but you have to flip it over to see. I've got an extra one. Wait a minute, somewhere. See if it's in my bag. Oh, jeez. Quit getting up and getting down, Steve. It's killing me.
You're doing it to yourself, man.
I've got an extra one, but I think it's in. I know where it's at. It's in the portable clank shack. That's where it's at. But yeah, but they got little feet on the bottom side of them. So if you have the DCB 115 chargers, they do have ways of mounting them on the wall. It just all it requires is two deck screws. That's what I use, regular deck screws. And it works fine. Brandy's fixed. She's fixing to start selling tickets for a fundraiser to build my new shack. Does that mean did she just give me permission to build a new shack?
No, she's
I'm,
giving you permission to sell tickets to your circus.
I mean, it looks like that was permission to build a new shop.
I think it was a permission for a
But
step to get closer to it. Actually, I mean, I think part of the shack is a Blackstone, though.
yeah, well, y'all started that. But she tells me that you're a bad influence anyway, Steve, with your big CNCs and stuff.
I mean, not gonna lie.
Yeah. But anyway, but no, like I said, guys, maybe one day, I don't know. It'll have to be probably later in life. But I have a lot of people ask me, about wanting to come by, and I don't have a problem with it, but understand that, not everybody in my family has a YouTube channel. Brandy's getting better about it. but I do have kids, one of which is a young adult, and so I just try to keep a little bit of I don't know what you would call it, like privacy, I guess you could say. But there may come a time to where we do have an open house at the Clack Shack or something. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. I'll put that in my list of things to think about when I'm you know not trying to figure out how to work CNC or something. But anyway, guys, appreciate you coming out. Uh, it's been fun. It's been real, but I got to get up and walk around a little bit, guys.
Yeah, it has been fun. Thanks everyone for stopping by. It was great answering some questions, talking about just everything, how we can get Clack a new shack, and we will hopefully see you all again next week. So watch the videos, like the videos, give us some more questions and topics, and we'll see you again next week.
Yeah, and if you hadn't already, go check the video out if y'all want to see Brandy trying to take over the Clack Shack. I dropped that earlier. If you hadn't already looked at it, I've been trying to get her on camera for a long time, and see there, now she's wanting a new deck for an open house. She finally got on camera with me, so that was quite the experience. It was fun, and tried to be entertaining with it. So let me know what you think about it, and give us a little feedback in the comments below. But y'all be careful, be safe, and have a good day.
See ya.